Hey guys, Fanatics Phil here with a deck profile after today's Pokemon Win-A-Box tournament. We're here with Matt Whitehorse. Whitehorse, what's your deck you're playing today?
Today I was playing Guardian.
What do you like about that deck?
So Guardian is a sleeper deck in my opinion. A lot of people have started playing it since Daytona Regionals or a Regionals somewhere when it topped or won, I can't remember exactly. And it started seeing a lot more play, but I was playing it beforehand. I think the deck is really good in the format right now because it can utilize so many cards with Green's Exploration and having Mallow and Lana to be able to heal your Pokemon and constantly use the same attack, which is Kaleidostorm over and over, to slowly progress by beating your opponent with the attacks. I think the deck is good. It is a little slow at times, but I think the deck is fine. It has a really good ADP matchup. So.
Awesome. How long have you been playing Pokemon?
Now probably about 2 years.
2 years. All right,
and I started out here at Fanatics. So.
Shout out to Fanatics.
That's right.
All right, we're going to readjust and take a look at the cards in the deck. Stand by deck.
All right, so this is my Guardian list. It's actually my fiance's list. I built it for her to play Pokemon. And so yeah, I decided to play it today. I've had some pretty decent success with it in the past, so I just decided to play it for today. So to start off the deck list, we're gonna start out with 4 Guardian. This deck doesn't play very many Pokemon, but you want to make sure you actually have this because this is your key Pokemon for the deck. It utilizes all the energy in your deck by the Faerie Song attack. The Kaleidostorm helps move around all the energy, which in turn actually helps you being able to kind of set up against your opponent. After an attack, if they kill this, it's good because you can move all the energy off of it onto another Pokemon itself on the bench, and they have to choose then whether they want to kill that Pokemon that you move all the energy to or just go ahead and kill this to get 3 prizes. So this is Guardian. It's basically the backbone of the deck. It's super good. It's really good if you go second because you can use the Faerie Song attack and help set up a lot quicker against your opponent. So I play 4 of those. This card, I don't know if a lot of people's actually playing this, but I like it because it's a sweet tech. It's really good against fire. If they on their first turn, if they're going second, Flare Strike against this, you can use this GX attack after you get the energy on it to basically take all the damage counters and put it on your opponent's active Pokemon. It's really good late game. I've actually won a few games with this late game because all of my Pokemon across the board and on the bench have been damaged so heavily, and just being able to kind of heal all those Pokemon with one powerful GX move is really good, and it's surprisingly easy to pull off in this deck. So the next card I have, only as a one of, is Mega Lopunny Jigglypuff. This card is actually really powerful. It sees a lot of play against decks that play a lot of GX Pokemon. So decks such as Charizard, Pikarom, ADP. This card is just a game changer. He's really good. He takes knockouts pretty quickly if your opponent has a lot of GX Pokemon in play. And he is a little bit easier to kill, but it is okay because as long as you have the reset stamp after they knock this out, it sets them back even further and helps your chances of winning the game. So that's actually all 7 Pokemon. I only play 7 because honestly, I don't feel like the deck really needs much more. I play a lot of heal cards in this deck, so healing the Pokemon and keeping them in play for longer than a few turns or a couple turns or even 1 turn at all if you're playing against Charizard. So it helps me be able to survive. So that's all 7. And now for the supporters. I think this is a no-brainer here. You have to play 4 Greens Exploration in a deck that does not play abilities. This deck does not play any abilities whatsoever. So Greens Exploration is a must in my opinion in this deck because this card searches out the deck for anything basically that you want. And it is surprisingly kind of shocking that you play this, and if you do search a supporter that you need to win on the next turn, it basically puts your opponent on a clock, and they have to decide whether they want to reset stamp you to get rid of the cards that you search, or they just have to power through it with what you search for the next turn that you try to use to win. Usually I search items with this card. I like to actually get Adventure Bag off this card and Tag Call. That's usually the first 2 cards I look for. The Adventure Bag is for Pikarom, because it's basically my worst matchup along with Reshizard. But Greens is great. It searches just about anything you need. It's really good if you start out with it. It's going to be sad that, you know, we can't no longer play them in about 3 weeks on the first turn, but it's okay. It's still a great card. It helps you look at your deck at the very beginning, so it's pretty sweet. So the next is 3 Faba. The reason I play 3 Faba is because ADP, that matchup is a nightmare. It is surprisingly easy to kind of beat once you have this card and you have the power plant. Once you play those 2 cards, which you can search for the greens, you basically just kind of further your chances of outpacing your opponent with ADP, because ADP tends to be a slower deck and takes a little while to set up. But Faba is good for many things. It's not just good for the stadium, which is Chaotic Swell, which is what I usually tend to use this with. It's good for Pokemon tool cards. It's good for special energy. I use this also for the weakness guard energy that they put on the ADP, so Guardian does not one-shot it, which surprisingly is kind of a good play, especially if I go on my 3rd turn, I guess. If I can knock out an ADP taking 3 prizes after they alter Creation GX. The next thing I really need is just this Empower Plant to kind of power through the Keldeo. So it's really good. It's a nice addition to the deck. The next 2, I'm going to put these 2 together. Cynthia and Caitlin and Mallow and Lana, these 2 work so well. Going against aggro decks, I like to usually use get the tag call off of the greens and either search one or the other. There's never really a time I search both. If I ever discard this, I do grab this to get this back. So this line is really good. It's surprisingly really well. It's really consistent. It hasn't really let me down. I don't usually use Mallow and Lana more than once. At that point, I feel like if you use it more than once, then you know it's kind of hard to devote a whole turn to using this, unless you know it furthers your chance of beating your opponent, which I guess it does. But I really like the greens and Cynthia and Caitlin because I sometimes have some trouble getting energy. So drawing cards is always a good thing in this deck. The next 2 are just 2 Cynthia. I'm actually thinking of taking these out because I have not seen it today at all. I have not played it today at all. And this card really just, in my opinion, I think greens, Mallow, Lana, Faba, or actually all the other supporters in the deck are probably just better to devote the turn to instead of these. This is just here mainly just to get me out of bricky hands. Like I said, I didn't really see this at all today. It would have been good round 1 against Pikarom, which I lost. But this card is okay. It's not bad. I definitely think you know it's pretty decent. This deck is pretty consistent though, so it doesn't really see much play. Didn't see any play today at all. So that's it for the supporters. The next are the items. I play 4 custom catchers. This card is honestly, it's really busted. Being able to search this with greens to custom catcher for game is basically like Guzma for game a long time ago when Guzma was legal. This card is really easy to pull off. Also, it can be utilized as a draw. So if you got this only card in hand, you can draw 3 cards, which I have done and have won games off of doing. It's very good. It's honestly, if Great Catcher or Pokemon Catcher is not in any of the decks, this should be. It's all around a great card. The next 3, I'm sorry, are Pokegears. This is only here for basically searching through the deck for supporters, greens, Cynthia, Caitlin, Mallow, and Lana. Really whatever you need at the time. I usually use these just to get greens though. Or, yeah, greens exploration. The next 3 are switches. I like 3 switches. I'm comfortable with this. The only reason I'm playing 3 is because I am playing 2 Mallow and Lana, which in itself plays out as a switch. So I don't think this card is bad at 3. A lot of people are playing 4. A lot of people are only playing 2. I like this. I'm comfortable with it being at 3. So it's really good card in the deck. Haven't used it too much today though. The next 2 cards are probably the best 2 cards in the deck that has saw so much play today is Great Catcher. Being able to Great Catcher for your opponent's Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff while they're playing 4 other GX Pokemon that are Fire, which is the Reshizard deck that I was playing against earlier. This won me the game. Hands down was the best card today. Just being able to gust up my opponent's Pokemon GX and being able to knock it out. And if it's a tag team, getting 3 prizes, it's just really surprisingly well, just worked really good today. And this card's great. The next 2, for consistent reasons, are Tag Call. Like I said, I like to search this first with greens, because being able to search multiple cards on the very first turn helps you burn through your deck and get what you need, get better chances of getting cards like put off of like cards like with Custom Catcher and Pokegear and things like that. It's really good. It searches, being able to search for supporters that are tag teams and Pokemon that are tag teams are really, really well. It seems, honestly, it doesn't seem like it plays a big role, but honestly, whatever deck this card is in, it plays a big role, because it's helping you search what you need and helping you get to what you need faster. So this card, I think, should be in every deck if you are playing tag teams, or at least cards that have tag team in the name, like supporters, only because you'll be able to search it. So it's sweet. This Cherish Ball, I know people are probably wondering why I play Cherish Ball. That's just in case these are prized. I use Cherish Ball also to get the Xerneas that I don't have, or the Xerneas that I play in the deck that I can't use Tag Call to get. I use the Cherish Ball to get those, so it plays really well. Honestly, a lot of these cards become discard outlets if they're not usable though. The next two are Faerie Charm Lightning. This card is sweet because it is only in this deck to survive against Pikarom, because Pikarom surprisingly is my worst matchup. I can't beat that deck because of how fast it is, because of how consistent it is. So I decided to add these to the deck to kind of slow it down a little bit, or at least slow down the damage that I would take. The deck has an insane, crazy amount of damage cap. It's insane. I wanted this card mainly just for that deck, but I have actually used this card in other ways. I used it to discard with Great Catcher, Mallow, and Lana. Being able to adventure bag for them to use those cards makes it honestly a lot better than most people expect. This deck has a lot of discard outlets, and these do become two of them if I'm not playing against Pikarom. So that's that. And then 2 reset stamp. I honestly thought about putting it to 1. Being able to greens for what you need is really good. The only reason I'm playing 2, I guess, is in case I prize one, I would be able to greens for one of these and set my opponent back. But other than that, this card is great. It's really good late game if they knock out your Pokemon. Next card, I'd probably say honestly one of the best MVPs of the deck today. Tag Switch. This card was just all around a great card. I used it in so many ways. To GX, I used it to Tag Switch onto Guardian, to Kaleidostorm, to add all the energy to a Mega Lopunny Jigglypuff for the next turn to knock out my opponent's Charizard. This card is just all around great. I think this card should be in just about every tag team deck, so it's really good. The next card is Energy Spinner. I only play it one of. If I have a bad hand starting out and that has no energy, I usually greens to get another supporter card like Cynthia and Caitlin to be able to keep the momentum going with the deck, drawing cards, and having supporters to play every turn, and getting this to get energy added to the hand. This deck likes to go second, so it can abuse its ability first. So it's a really great card. It's all around, sees a lot of play. So the next card is Adventure Bag. This is only here to search the Faerie Charms. So that's it. And then the next thing is 4 Power Plant. This should be no surprise. This is only in here basically for Dedenne and ADP. This card is all around a great card. It's worked out really well today. It also, in matchups that it is dead in, I use them as discard outlets. So it's really great. And then this is probably going to be a shock to most people. I play 1 Chaotix Will. The reason I play Chaotix Will is for the Pikarom matchup with the Heat Factory and playing Lysander Labs. If I play this, knocking off their Lysander Labs, whatever they have in play, whether it's Lysander Labs or Heat Factory or Thunder Mountain, this gets rid of a stadium, and it also burns another stadium if they don't have the Mars Shadow. So that was the reason for playing this today. And it's also searchable with greens because it's a trainer. So, and then the next thing I play is 11 Energy, I believe. Yes, 11 Energy. This deck wants to make sure it gets its energy when it needs it. The reason I play 11, surprisingly probably a large amount, is Xerneas and Mega Lopunny, when they die, I don't get them back. I play no energy retrieval in this deck to be able to get the energy back. So me playing 11, being able to Fairy Song if I have to, kind of thins through the deck getting energy and helps me set up. So yeah, that's basically it.
All right, thanks for the interview there, White Horse.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Thank you for having me.